You know what I think? I think that was a not so subliminal suggestion, end quote. I admit it does cause a problem if he died when he says he died. I would be forced to say off when readership to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article. Come again? You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye. Alright. Scoop. Scoop. He's playing him like a fiddle. Look, wait. Just wait a second. Just 1 second. We're waiting. Out with it. I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story of survival, end quote. Attorney utterly confused, end quote. Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard of poison that takes its sweet time, see? But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say. Or I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say. Let's see if we can figure out just what happened at Drew's studio. And why that, stamp thing had poison on it. Right, October 8th, 9:48 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 6. Dang, it's the 6th one, okay. Good morning. So, you're Vera, right? I'm Trissy. Trissy Wright. That's right, with a W. But not right, right? Girl. Trissy, please. We're on your side. You can tell us anything, please. Or, at least tell us something, like I didn't kill him. Good morning. She speaks! Oh my gosh, guys, it's a miracle. She speaks. Not bad. But I think you'd do better with a little smile, You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, No, she doesn't. Trissy, please stop. Trissy, let's take it easy for starters. Oh, alright, she draws. Oh my gosh. I remember this now. Aw, I love her little drawings. Thank you for taking my case. Guys, please don't be surprised at every little thing she does, otherwise she's not gonna speak to you again. Okay, well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again. Wait. There's something about that nail polish. It's just hit me. Oh, I don't remember what, but I remember there was something with the nail polish. Oh, that's gonna bother me. That's great, really. It's so cultured. Aw, want to try? Ooh, really? Girls. Apollo, don't be a hater. The victim, Drew Measham, was a forger, and a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really. And maybe one that led to his death. Maybe. Quite possibly. What could the reason be, though, I wonder? Oh hey, Clavier is here. Oh, we will now, begin the, trial of the Vera Measham. What is going on? Is he okay? Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy, and he's looking around all nervous-like. Oh, is he nervous because it's like a jury trial? And it's like all official? Oh, I love the judge. The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time. And may indeed alter our legal system forever. Today is a test of the juris system, and the first step toward a new order in our courts. Daddy's secret mission. Jurists will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. There you go, that's why the judge is all panicky. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists, Judge Well and Judge Cool. Really? Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that. My apologies, Herr Judge. Jurist, judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind. I love the judge. The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. See, that's a slippery slope. And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin, the details of the case, if you would. The victim is the painter, Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham. Objection! There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Chung, someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. He's so cool. The mug? Residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. The court accepts this as evidence. Okay, here we go. We got our autopsy. Actually, wait. Let me read that before anything else. The victim's death, time of death, 9:30, cause of death. Okay, so it's basically what we know already. Alright. Just wanted to be sure. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by I don't even know how to say atroquinine poisoning. A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. Dang. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness. What I want to know is what his case is going to be for how she got it, because it doesn't seem like the type of poison you can easily have access to. I have for you today a simple man, for a simple case. Okay. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. No, please, no. The witness will state his name and occupation. Ah, right. Well, for starters, my name's Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world. In other words, a freelance journalist, right? Ahem, if you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record. Yes, Mr. Brushel? I dislike conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make Park Sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote. But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday. Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today as a man with a dream. This is gonna be one very, very long trial. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel, end quote. Let's hear your testimony then, shall we? A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out. Yeah. Oh boy, let's see. I visited the studio around 9 that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier. Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time. That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him. Oh, what are you saying, Judge? Ahem. Need I remind you the cameras are rolling today? I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you? Me do a thing like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, loud accusations around courtroom, end quote. Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. That's how he always looks like. Oh man, I'm happy for him. Sarcastically, he said. Very well, Mr. Justice. Your cross-examination, please. I don't even know where to start with you. I guess we have to press? Let's start here. Would you mind being a little more specific? Ooh, let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No, that's not what I meant. Don't give us your life story about coffee. I believe I know what her forehead is driving at. This coffee the victim was served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it? Right, that's what I was going to say, really. Well, now, if you've got a question to ask, you'd best straight up ask it. That's what I tell all the new recruits, several times if necessary. Write for a grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only write grade school level stuff by Who touched the coffee? Don't know. I was in the back looking at the studio's equipment when she served it. Ay. And what happened next? Oh boy. What's this about a star falling? Star falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money, over. Is that we? You don't know? That's like a journalist code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls. Get it? But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really. Does this matter? Poor Apollo. Oh boy, this is good stuff. Good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, lacks a punch. I know. Star dies. Nah, lacks imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies. Straight to the point. I like it. I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. The moment of death? Brushel's coffee. We already know about the coffee. Like his coffee. I think the moment of death, right? Because we already know he doesn't know anything about the coffee. Let's try moment of death. About when Mr. Misham passed away. Oh boy, what a scene that was. He puts his coffee mug down with a crash, right? Yes, and then? Then the cold finger of death touches his spine. Life's flame sputters and fails. So cold was that touch, he could do naught but tremble uncontrollably. Actually, life's flame is a little tired. Life's river froze over. Yes, that's a go. I think he's starting his article already. Could you describe that a little more simply? Well, as you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. He hit the floor, as they say. Artist's seizure is final performance, end quote. Anthraquinine paralyzes the central nervous system. The body arches back like a bow. The limbs tremble. That's quite enough of that. Some of us want to be able to sleep tonight. Oh yeah? Well, I want details. Lots of juicy details. For that, you can listen to our last year's hit single, Anthraquinine, My Love, by the Gavaneers, available on all major music outlets. The point here is that the victim died of anthraquinine poisoning. Well, Mr. Justice, how did you find that testimony? Let's ask him about his coffee. You'd think the moment of Mr. Misham's death would be important, but Mr. Brushel's story really didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. Very well, please continue with the testimony. I guess we'll ask about the star's coffee, then. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee, too. But did you actually see him drink the coffee? Of course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger, end quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and... What? I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world. What the heck? Yet? I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote. That poison is quite virulent, I hear. My stomach did a so-called somersault, since I'd gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, Maybe something's there. Some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess for the record? Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? Guess. Let's say it is important. The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over. Oh yes, yes. You can go to press with that one. Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to his testimony. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony. Vital, right. He had one sip, if that. The next moment he was on the floor. If what I'm thinking is right, I will present this here coffee cup. Objection! Alright. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinine. Oh? Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission? Atroquinine is virulent as he says. But death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is slow acting. Slow acting? Well, what? According to one forensic scientist, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. I don't remember this. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion. Oh my gosh! It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. If we suppose at the moment Mr. Meacham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time. That he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe. Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we've just heard. Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say? On the record? Slow acting. S-O-L-O-A-C-T. It was virulent, alright? Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist. He's working on his scoop.
Objection!
It's Brushel, Ja. Herr Brushel, let's take a trip back down memory lane. Huh? Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital. You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion, end quote. I admit it does cause a problem if he died when he says he died. I would be forced to say off when we addition to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article. Come again? You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye. Alright. Scoop. Scoop. He's playing him like a fiddle. Look, wait. Just wait a second. Just 1 second. We're waiting. Out with it. I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story of survival, end quote. Attorney utterly confused, end quote. Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard of poison that takes its sweet time, see? But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say. Or I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say. I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee. Order! 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 As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony, that Mr. Meacham died the instant after he drank. Of course I'm standing by my testimony. I might dream of exclusive rights to this story. Eck, I suppose it was too much to hope for. What was? Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case, not him. Oh, Phoenix! Him? Phoenix right, who else? Heck Chug, Herr Brushel, report for us, if you would. What is it that you noticed? I love it. This court is a critical trial of the juris system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed. I mean, isn't it like that for every case? There's no room for doubt in any case. Not just a jurist case. But I guess he means we should be extra careful, I guess. Alright, when I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? What? A suicide note? Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote. Suicide? Poor Mr. Misham. But that means Vera is innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay. Okay, Sir Brushel, let's see. I want to press this first. So he put the letter away when he saw you? Ere the reporter gets warm, end quote. That's my secret. I'm not sure I follow. It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really? Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice? I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Yes. The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add it to the testimony then. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. Really? Doesn't seem like it. Oh, it was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. Excuse me, no it wasn't. Objection! As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. What? Prosecutor Gavin. Yes? He's so chill, I love it. Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But Herr Forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. Really? I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel? I can explain that. Drew, right. He wanted to get that letter in an envelope, prompto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away. And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. Hold on. Maybe I should read it. No. It's impossible. It said send it in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamps. That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Oh? Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. I have been scooped. Oh, I like that. You've been scooped. Order, order, order. That's what I'm gonna say every time we get him with a contradiction from now on. Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court? Oh my, my, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots, end quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel. No, not this thing. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. A stamp? Whatever for? Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letter box. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box. Wow, okay, so the reply to the letter. What? Why would you... Let me read. Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with this case. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think if that were a suicide note. What a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter. False. End quote. Him. As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said... Yes, Your Honor? It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Oh boy, time to air out his dirty laundry. I feel so bad. Imagine being dead and your crimes coming to light like this. That sucks. 100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, Ja? Oh? So, am I finished? Here, I mean? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, you know, going home to start writing. I mean, technically yes, because, like, I don't know what else we have against him, really. I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, rather unique face. Heck, come on! Attorney has active imagination, little else, end quote. Hey, rude. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. No? I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Oh boy, he's played the game. He knows the mechanics. Judge has active imagination, end quote. I love breaking the wall stuff. Please, continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story. Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here. Usually. Not this time, chump. Actually, it took me a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. So you threatened to go to press with this story. That's how you got your interview? Blackmail? Well, yes. I mean, no. No, 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 no. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not Something wrong, Mr. Brushel? Well, look. This is my story. My tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote. I see. While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste. The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? It's time. Trucy, come on, you should have some idea what we're talking about. Oh, we need to perceive. We already know he was forging, so my bet is this statement. Let me see. If I can tell. Problem is I don't know where to look. Could be anywhere. Oh! Is that what we want? He's sweating. He sweated at Drew's talent. Okay, let's do it again. This may honestly be some part of me remembering what part I need to be perceiving. Gotcha! That might honestly be, what do you call it? Muscle memory kicking in. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel? Irk. Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know? It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets. Yuck. You're hiding something about his talent. What? That's ridiculous. Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I've evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. What would show the forgery, though? Probably this, right? Let's just give it a try. I can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude from this evidence. Oh, other than that you've made a horrible mistake. Man burns bridge, forgets to cross first, end quote. Okay. Let's try that again. All I have to do is reveal what Mr. Bishop really was. That shouldn't be so hard, right? Then, maybe it's the hidden one? There we go. Okay. This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. Oh, oh, what a face. Get scooped. Literally, he's like scooping himself. Oh man. That is all, Your Honor. Dang, alright, Apollo. I see you. Everyone, please, everyone. Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop. Forgery. That's a serious crime. Misham is known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back. Another art meaning forgery? Misham was talented, alright? Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover. Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about... Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago. Oh my gosh, here we go. 7 years ago? So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for... Exactly. Forged evidence nets tidy profit, end quote. Oh my gosh. Order. Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Aha, this is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about. Objection! This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation. Objection! But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. Objection! But there is no proof tying this letter to our case. Oh, he's got a point. Our case was, and remains, simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course. Hey. The only thing I poison is my pen when I'm writing reviews. That's good. Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen. But what are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you could stand an elephant on it, end quote. In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over. Apollo, what's he talking about? Cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have reason or means to poison him. As long as there are no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera, that's what. This next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please. Okay. The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She's admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. A nice testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt. Ah, shucks. You really think so? I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin your final cross-examination. Right. I still have one trump card left to play, and I won't let this trial end until I use it. The stand with the poison on it. Alright. No, wait a sec. Oh, he said he sent the letter with the yellow envelope, right? So something did leave the office. Or the studio. Whatever. This is the only link between that studio and the outside world. A letterbox? What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Ah! But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared. Objection! Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing. Huh? He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Misham. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness will add this to his testimony. You got it. I still think this fails to change anything here, Forehead. Oh, just wait and see. I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. I guess I could press this one. You say clearly as though it were obvious. But this claim that the defendant poisoned the victim is merely conjecture. And yes, well, you see, in my business it's all about making the most ridiculous things sound right. A bad habit, I know. The music stopped and everything. Yes, well, actually, I guess this is more of a case of ridiculous journalist sounds wrong, end quote. The court is forced to agree with you. Please refrain from wild conjecture. Understood loud and clear. If only I could believe that. What do you think, Apollo? Everything he's saying seems so not flawed. Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. I need to keep my eye on what matters. How and why was Drew Misham killed? Vera poured the coffee, that's not going to change. But if that coffee didn't kill him, I need to find what did, and prove it. Maybe I'll press. You're sure about that? Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. One of those candies might have been poisoned. Yeah, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragments of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than the coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof, the possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it, not yet. The possibility isn't going to cut it, not now. Mr. Misham ingested that poison via a route other than that coffee. I can prove it. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing. Oh boy. He pulled out his air guitar. This is serious. You do understand what we need, Ja? Proof, Herr Forehead, not possibilities. Of course. And, Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. Ha ha ha. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope. I saw him writing a letter, I did. Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp. Ah! As we all know, stamps come with dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp. Finally! Oh my gosh. No one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp, but wait. How does that explain the atroconine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of a poisoned stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Oh, I love this. Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing, it was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Dang. I love it when everything comes together. Order, order, order. But that doesn't... does it? Recall, if you would. Atroconine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. Oh, dang. And Brushel arrived 15 minutes early. Uh-huh. It all comes together. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh. His nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, you see. After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Maybe he'd just run out? Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poisoned stamp? Finally, we can present this accursed thing. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame, and by little I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection, so what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. See, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroconine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying... Oh, yes, we are. Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Oh, yes. Order, order, order. The poisoned stamp was in this frame? Impossible. But Prosecutor Gavin, why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Brushel? And please, stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too, end quote. So the poisoned stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Objection! Oh boy. He's too cool for school. Oh, Rich, that's Rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gavinier song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drumisham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail? Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poisoned stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. We might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misham was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham the stamp of death with the enclosed stamp, so he wanted him to use a specific stamp. Isn't this envelope the one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Ah! In other words, if I have this straight, stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick lick, gasp, end quote. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath, and the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Dang. Such a splendid imagination you have, fair forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So this poisoned stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago, ja? Is that what you'd have us believe, really? Well, it is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poisoned stamp in this envelope. A stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, it was 7 years ago and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence, I see. Very well. I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Oh my... What are you doing here? Oh, okay. Ah, Emma, why did it show Kristoff? What the heck? Well, like my Kristoff Gavin impression, did I sound like him? She is such a troll. Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Glare me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right. The poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court. Oh yay! Where would it be, though? I do be spraying. I do be oh, never mind. I was gonna say I found nothing, but here we go. Eureka! Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atroquinine residue. We got him. I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past? Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Objection! What now? Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder weapon... Why Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out. Figured what out? He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead, so he sent his reply with a different stamp, and put his decisive evidence in a frame. But then he still ended up using it, what? Heck, you're still here? Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razortooth Brushel, claim this scoop as mine. Misham killed in cold blood by sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote. Dude. No one cares. Order, order, order. I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife, end quote. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge. I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant. Apollo, I think we just won. Very well, this court finds the defendant. Wait for it, yep. Saw that coming. Raise your hand if you saw that coming. Everyone, yep. Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor, Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for Gavineer's shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Herr Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poisoned stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Emma explained that he must have realized it was poison. Yeah, but then why would he use it? Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger, Drew Misham, sensed the trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot? He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years, and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? See, that's what I was saying. Why now? Why? Well, I admit this is all quite shocking myself. It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall a fool of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo! I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Okay, then how do you explain the poisoned stamp that was in this envelope? The poisoned stamp? Where exactly is this poisoned stamp again? Have you brought it to the court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. What about the atroconine residue, huh? Oh, I agree, that does seem to be atroconine residue. But Herr Forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Oh, yeah, but... Even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. But he did use it. Erg. But why, though, is important. Did something happen with Vera? I don't know. I believe we've come to a conclusion again. Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroconine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right, which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of edgequinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, a fake clue? Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, huh? The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison trail is none other than... Okay, you know what? After thinking about it, I think I should choose Drew Misham. What if the death wasn't now? What if that's what's throwing us off? What if he did die back then? Or, you know, that's like my train of thought. Anyway. The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. You have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Objection! Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger. It makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah! I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again? 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. Ooh, I like this. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's 2 forgers, and one of them was a fake. Yay! Order, order, order. So you are telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. Oh, is Vera the actual forger? Oh my gosh. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forget Drew Misham was himself a forger. What? Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was Vera. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. Order, order, order. Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you. I kinda agree, I mean Vera, a forger? Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well... He always has to play his little air guitar. Fascinating. Really? All that build up just for a fascinating. Vera Mishem? You've been paying attention to the trial so far. Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham? Oh. Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Frau Linz, believe me, though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. Oh geez. So the forger, Drew Misham, was you? Yes, it was me. What? What? Oh boy. The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. Oh boy. Well. Plot twist again. Classic Ace Attorney plot twist. Dang. Alright. Looks like we are gonna have to continue next time. Alright, so our forger wasn't our expected forger after all, but that does make sense. If it went 7 years without being discovered, and then all of a sudden he's dead, then yeah, it couldn't have been him, it had to have been someone else. Wow. Alright. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one where we continue forward with Turnabout Succession. A lot has happened 7 years ago, and we're gonna find out what. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.